Hello everyone, I'm Yee Shuen. Today our group will present about ethical and social issues of e-commerce. Let me briefly explain about what is e-commerce. E-commerce or electronic commerce is the ability of a company to have dynamic presence which allows to operate online business instead of having a physical shop. So why do we need e-commerce? E-commerce provides secure shopping transaction via the internet and coupled with almost instant verification and validation of credit card transaction.
So for the objectives is to identify and discover the major ethical and social issues in e-commerce. Next is to find out the major threats in e-commerce, and lastly to give a better understanding on how businesses and consumers can be safe from online threats.
Let's go to the topic I'm going to discuss today, which is the ethics in e-commerce. Basically, ethics in here is behaving ethically in person of professional sphere. In e-commerce, a professional can cause great harm through dishonesty, carelessness, and incompetence. It is very hard to gain trust on the web because the customer don't know who you are. Sometimes it is difficult to do the right thing because it takes courage admitting to a customer that your program is faulty. Thus, e-business must honor their business policies and their customers' privacy and security. Here's the questions. If fraud occurs, whose fault is it? What is the correct moral choice when we face the alternative courses of action? We came with three main features of ethical choice. Let's look at the first one, responsibility. It is a key element of the ethical actions. Responsibility means that you accept the potential costs, duties, and application for the decision you make. Due to our studies, the one who chooses the technology has to be responsible for the consequences. Normally, it will be the manager of the project. Let's go to the next feature, accountability. It is a feature of system and social institutions. It means that mechanisms are in place to determine or figure out who is the one who is responsible in an action. And the last features of our ethical choice is liability. Liability is a feature of political system in which a body of laws is in place that permits individuals to recover the damages done to them. There's also an ability to appeal to higher authorities to ensure the laws are applied correctly. The second topic I'm going to talk about is the ethical issues in e-commerce. We all knew that the internet has been commercialized. In this case, it occurs a lot of ethical issues in e-commerce. Nowadays, almost all trading and business activities can be done online. This trend really brings us a lot of advantages. However, we also could not ignore the bad side of e-commerce, which is there will always be some irresponsible parties who give threats to both consumer and business organization. So here we will list some ethical issues that occurs in e-commerce. The first one, web spoofing. Web spoofing is an electronic deception related to the internet. It occurs when an attacker sets up a fake website that lure consumers to give their personal information. The next one, cyber squatting. It is an activity which a person or firm registers, purchases, and uses the existing domain name belonging to the well-known organization to infringe its trademarks. Normally, they will put up derogatory remarks to encourage the subject to rebuy their domain name from them. The third one is common in our daily life, the online piracy. Online piracy can be defined as unauthorized copyright of electronic intellectual property. These unethical activities occur when the internet user uses the software and hardware to transfer electronic intellectual property illegally. The next one, email spamming. Email spamming, also known as UCE, unsolicited commercial email. The spammer will send or broadcast unwanted advertisement or correspondence over the internet. So their purpose is trying to get the people's financial information to defraud them. Normally, the content of email redirects to the fake website. This technique, also known as phishing. The last ethical issue I want to state is privacy invasion. It occurs when the personal details belong to consumers are exposed to unauthorized party. It may occur in three ways. The first one is through e-commerce business. They buy information about individuals such as the personal details, shopping habits, and so on. This can be done with or without individual knowledge. They buy the information to help their marketing and selling of products. Another way of privacy invasion is the personal information of consumer being transmitted may be intercepted by anyone other than the person whom it is intended. Last but not least, malicious programs delivered via web pages could reveal credit card numbers, users' names, and passwords that are frequently stored in special files. We also call it as cookies. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
I'm Shin Hui. I'm going to present major threats in e-commerce. E-commerce tends to be at a higher echelon for risk and attack because e-commerce is a transaction of goods and services in internet. The direct threat to e-commerce servers can be classified as malicious code threat is to cause larger scale damage to the e-commerce servers. They are viruses and worms, Trojan horses, and logic bombs. Another classified as transmission threat It is to alter the flow of data transmissions or to create a Roger transmission aimed directly at e-commerce server. They are denial of service attack, SYN flooding, and ping of that. Implications of e-commerce. Many legal, moral, and ethical issues should consider when using internet and e-commerce. First, ethical and moral implications. There are many ethical implications for business to run into that would normally be addressed when doing business face-to-face. Next, legal implications. Regulations of e-commerce is very important for cyberspace markets, as it helped or stopped the organization working with e-commerce and able to protect the consumer in online markets. Next is security implications. Few security implications when setting an e-commerce website, especially when handling sensitive information. Next is customer and server. To secure data between the customer and web server, there is a system called SSL. SSL is the secure socket layer which encrypts the information between them so no one can read it. Lastly is server security. Server will have to be able to protect and withstand any hacks attempt to retrieve the information that is stored, such as credit card information and other personal information. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Now, how do we keep your computer safe? As we all know, the online world is full of benefits, but it could also impose threats. One of the ways we can keep our computer safe is to install security applications such as antivirus and anti-spyware. One of the examples for antivirus is Kaspersky, McAfee, and for anti-spyware, it scans your computer for worms and Trojan horses. Next is to always stay up to date. You should always update your operating system, web browser, and antivirus regularly because the updated versions of any software will have the latest fixes and security patches. Now, there are other implications that we could follow to keep our computer safe. One of it is to do not open unknown emails, as this is how phishing and scam is being spread. Next is to always use the right web browser. Make sure it is the upgraded version of the web browser. Next is to sense everything around you. Make sure the web browser that you are using is correct version and it is not phishing web browser. Next is authentication. I think we are all familiar of the authentication factors such as two-factor authentication for social media accounts and Touch ID and Face ID. Next is intrusion check. Make sure your account is not being followed or intruded by unwanted visitors. And lastly is to educate users on the implications on how to keep your computer safe. In conclusion, the internet is constantly growing and evolving. It is how we stay connected with other people and it helps a business grow. Applying good ethical standards is a direct reflection of your business. How you handle your privacy and security issues is a way to gain your customers' trust. It is a way to uphold your company's image. So that is all from me and my group mates. So thank you.